I was doing my PR for my deadlift. I had just finished a set at 565. I thought I had it in me to do a bit more. I put on a 5-pound plate on each side, lifted it up beautifully, and on the lockout, I could see in the reflection as I was locking out that my arm just snapped. I could see my bicep just go up into my arm, and I knew I had messed up. To what extent, I wasn't sure. I lightly put the weight down and just kind of sat on the floor and whispered to the guy deadlifting beside me to get the front desk. And then the pain started to come in. I went to the ER straight away. I was probably out within an hour and had a session booked with the surgeon in a week and a half from then. It actually took about a week for the bruising to show up. I thought it would show up a lot sooner than that. I slept on the floor for about 2 weeks. that was probably the most comfortable position for me. Anything else did not feel comfortable. I don't think I had fully anticipated how small my arm would be when I got the cast off. That cast was only on for 2 weeks, and my bicep was about as thick as my wrist. So seeing that was a bit of a mental shock. I don't think I was fully prepared for that, and I don't think I had come across anything, even on YouTube, to see what that would initially look like. Seeing that just gave me a lot of motivation to get back in the gym once I could and start working at that arm to build that muscle back. Say one of the earlier setbacks was just having that infection in my arm. This was after I had my stitches taken out. I remember the wound starting to ooze a little bit, and I could see that particularly when I was in the gym. So I knew that wasn't right, so I had to go on antibiotics and get that all cleaned out. And I would say, and another setback, just a minor one, was particularly when I was doing hammer curls, I would get this kind of clicking and locking out in my arm. And I think massage therapy really kind of fleshed that out and made it feel like normal again. And so in terms of the brace, it started out at about 90 degrees, and each couple of weeks we would go 10 degrees further south to the point that my arm was basically extended in 180 degrees. I think towards the end it felt a little uncomfortable because your arm was always extended at 180. But beyond that, I would say that the bigger issue was just getting that supination back. And that's something that the brace couldn't quite do. Like, it'll help you with the extension, but there was definitely issues where supinating my arm, I could see a huge difference between my arm right and my left. I knew it was going to be a long recovery ahead. But I remember going on YouTube, seeing a lot of people get injured with something similar or something greater. Seeing them rebound kind of gave me the confidence that I can do this too. So going in with that mindset put me a bit more at ease, but it was still intimidating nonetheless. The initial rehab was about 2 sessions a week for 30 minutes. Probably half of that was dedicated to massaging out the scar and the surrounding muscles, and then the other half was dedicated to stretches and exercises that would help further strengthen that arm and the mobility. And a lot of that I could incorporate when I was in the gym outside of physio as well. In the early stages, we used the blood flow restrictor cuffs to help reduce the muscle loss and kind of give you that sort of pump feeling when you were, like you would be when you were in the gym. Like, it still felt like you're doing like a full workout, even though you're using like a 2-pound weight, but it felt like your arm was more together. So it was interesting having that on my arm, because it's like, oh, my arm almost feels like normal again, right? Well, I couldn't lift anything up to like 5 pounds with that arm for probably almost a month, it felt like. And I'm just being very careful to not overload that arm, and there wasn't too much I could do with that arm. We did quite a few mobility exercises in physio where we'd use like a hammer and turn the hammer from left to right to try and get that feeling back and just that stretch. One of the first initial milestones was just being able to bicep curl with that arm even though it was just 2 or 5 pounds, I was happy to get that arm up and going and feel like, okay, this is what it's going to be like going forward. From there, I'd say like another milestone was just being able to bench press again. I remember there was a point where I couldn't even do the bar, squatting again, being able to slowly branch off and being able to do all those things in the gym that I was doing prior that may not have been, explicitly bicep related, but was still impacted by losing that ability to use that arm. So there were several along the way, for sure. The initial injury was on Friday the 13th in May, so I won't forget that date. So it's been about 8-9 months since then, and I'm pretty comfortable doing everything in the gym that I was before. So I'd like to say I'm back where I was and stronger than before. There's definitely always that fear of re-injuring that arm, particularly on doing a bicep curl or deadlifting again. I think that fear is always going to be a little bit there, lurking in the background, but just focusing on paying attention to how fatigued that arm is, making sure that I'm doing everything safely and within good form. I don't foresee myself making that error again. Your mobility is going to be a little limited in the beginning, but as soon as you get that back, even if it's not your arm, get back in the gym. There's certain things that you will be able to work out. You'll still be able to work out your left arm. There's still going to be a few leg exercises that you can do. Take advantage of that while you can. Don't wait. Go on YouTube, see some other people with the same injury or even greater ones, right? That'll give you the motivation and realization that you can bounce back from this and you're going to be okay.